Are you more worried about the Bills, Eagles, or Ravens after this past week? Now, Ravens were on a bye week, but I
Yeah.
still wanted to include them. So really, it comes down to Bills and Rams and Panthers, Eagles. Which of those would you like to talk about first?
Let's go Eagles.
Okay, so the Panthers now 3-10 beat the or not didn't beat, almost beat the Philadelphia Eagles now 11-2. 22-16 was the final score with the Eagles coming out on top. Thoughts on this one, Casito?
We talked about it, and I yelled trap game jokingly.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a joke, but we did mention that the Panthers, they look like a new team after they came out of the bye. They
Yeah,
look
they
they
look
look
really
good.
good.
I really think the best thing that happened for Bryce Young was that he got benched. He got benched. They brought in Andy Dalton, you know, and I know that it's bad how Andy Dalton, got out and then Bryce Young got to come back in because of the car accident. You never want to see something like that. But that is kind of lucky for Bryce Young that he got another chance at this because he looks good and it doesn't look like he wants to mess this up.
Yeah.
You know, I know that his numbers weren't great. This game, he has one touchdown, one interception. He went almost. It was almost about a 50% completion rating, so not great. But
No,
you
but
watched a
not
lot of that
bad
game.
also.
You watched that game. I watched that game, and you're going up against that defense. He looked pretty good against that
Yes.
defense. Especially, we expected him not to play up to that caliber, especially watching the first part of the season. But with what he was doing against that defense, I was like, okay, pretty good. They kept him in it. So to answer the question, no, I'm not worried about the Eagles. I'm not. I'm not worried about the Eagles. Saquon Barkley still went over 100 yards. Jalen Hurts still threw 2 touchdowns. So I'm not worried about this team. Yeah, I'm not worried about this team.
Yeah, I think when watching the game, again, there was a couple instances, and again, when it's young quarterbacks, when it's rookie quarterbacks, you always say you just want to see flashes, right? Like that was the whole thing with Caleb Williams, where it was like the first month or two of the season, it was
Yeah.
like, where are the special plays? Where is the stuff we saw at USC? And for Bryce Young, that was what it was coming out of Alabama when he went to the Panthers, where it was like, regardless of how bad this team is, regardless of how bad the coach is, like where are the special plays that pop off the screen? Right.
So
And then we've seen that from Bo Nix. We've seen that from Jaden Daniels, especially. But the past 3 weeks since that bye, you've seen the plays where it's just like now all of a sudden Bryce Young is just popping off the screen at certain times during the games where you're like, oh, maybe he can play in the NFL.
right, and
Like,
with that being said, it's not like the Eagles played bad. They didn't turn over the ball. They didn't turn over the ball. They still kept the Panthers to 16 points. But what it was is the Panthers played way better than what they were supposed to play. I mean,
yeah,
their third down efficiency, they were 7 for 16. That's not bad. And then fourth down efficiency, 3 for 5. Like they were doing everything to their capability to be able to compete with the Eagles, and they did. They
yeah.
were a drive away, and they almost did it. They were a drive away to go down and win that game. And yeah, I have nothing against with how the Panthers played or the Eagles played. I mean, the Eagles did not the Eagles didn't almost blow this game. The Panthers just almost won this game. That's it.
And you know what? As an Eagles fan, I wish the touchdown would have counted for the Panthers because then the Eagles, I believe, would have had a minute left, 2 timeouts, and I would like to have seen the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands where he can't rely on Saquon Barkley. And then it's like, okay, go win us this game.
Mhm.
Because the issues coming out of this game, and especially as an Eagles fan, are Brandon Graham went on his talk show and said basically like, oh, and it's being taken out of context. Of
Yeah,
course it is.
of
But
course, and that's what he even said too.
you listen to or you just read the snippet of what's being discussed, and it was like, well, AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts used to be friends, and then like all this stuff started happening, but it was like the context of how he was saying it was like they used to be friends and then they got on the same team and now they're friends and also like business partners basically. Like he was saying they used to be just friends, now they're just friends and teammates. So
Yeah,
like that
and
was
there
the
was talk about him
context of it.
saying that like they needed to play better, both Hurts and Brown. Like
Yeah, like they needed to communicate better with each other and not do it in the media was his basically overall point, which again, we agree with, everybody agrees with. And before the game, like Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, and AJ Brown are like having a huddle together and like hyping each other up. So this whole thing of like they're on bad terms, like, no, they're not. But the issue I have with the Eagles right now is that they're one dimensional by choice. And the one dimensional by choice is because Saquon Barkley is such an offensive weapon that, I mean, we just finished week 14 and he already broke the rushing record for Eagles franchise history. There's 4 more games to go and he already has the record. And it's
yeah, and
not,
so for those people to say, "Oh, well, the season's longer now. The season's longer now." Blah blah blah. Okay, well, he did it 4 games before, so like before
yeah,
the end
yeah.
of this new season.
He
So
would technically still have 3 games if it was just regular, the regular season we did. He would have broken the regular season record if it was still a 14-game season because he did it in week 14.
yeah,
So
that's what I'm
it's,
saying.
yeah.
So like with
So
these these added 3 games, or yeah, 3 games, the extra 4 weeks with the bye and everything. Like, dude, shove it up your ass. Like, I did come across that where somebody tried to say, "Well, the season's longer." I don't remember what site I was on, and I'm like, "But it's week 14,
yeah.
right?"
And he still would
Like,
have
and he still
broken
broke it.
the record if
Like,
they would have done the lowest.
make it make sense in your mind, bud.
But so the to put a bow and a pin on this discussion is it's just the reason this is a talking point is Jalen Hurts in this game was 14 for 21, 108 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He
Again,
also
Panthers played
ran,
well. The Panthers played well.
yeah, he also ran eight times for 59 yards and a touchdown. And I text you this during the game where I was like, I love this version of Jalen Hurts because he's very, what is it? He's very patient. He's very smart with the ball. And Josh Allen and like Lamar Jackson and Mahomes are like the 5 or 4 quarterbacks in the league where when 2 guys are about to sack him, you just don't go like, oh, he just got sacked. Like I
You
mean, he
hold your breath.
literally, yeah, he literally shrugged 2 guys off, ran for 20 yards, slid, and then it was like a third down that was now a first
Yeah.
down. So when you
So
watch
are
Jalen
you
Hurts play,
so are you
I
worried about him?
no, and honestly, I think the issue is at the end of halves, like when they're going into halftime, they have scored the most points all season as an offense. And I think why that is because it's up tempo, it's no huddle, it's just calls at the line, it's really quick passes, it's really quick decision making, which Jalen Hurts has shown that he's good at when it's not this methodical, like, okay, we huddle. Now we get the play. Now we get a completion. Now we huddle. Now we get the play. Now we get like an incompletion. And it's just
Yeah.
like, I think he likes the up tempo, like, let me call it at the line. And then they have the most points at the end of the half because that's how they play. So I want to see more of the Eagles offense just be like more quick, no huddle, like just get to the line, let Jalen call it, let the audibles come in, and then just go score. But I also, and this is a good transition to the Bills Rams game, is you can give all the credit in the world, and we do, when you talk about Josh Allen and the game he just played against the Rams. But again, you can't give all the credit uh to Josh Allen in games where he plays immaculate and perfect and then shit all over Jalen Hurts for the way he played in the game when Hurts won that game and Allen didn't win his game. Like, you
Right.
get what I'm saying? Like, it's so weird to just be like, we need to have a Josh Allen game where he throws for what Josh Allen threw 342 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interception, and he ran for 10 carries, 82 yards, 3 touchdowns. Again, amazing stat line. One of the best stat lines you're ever going to see for a running quarterback like Josh Allen. But I'd much rather watch Eagles games where they control the clock, they kind of just work their way downfield with Saquon, with Hurts, and then win games to where they're not in 44 to 42 game shootouts like the Bengals have to be with Joe Burrow, like the Ravens have to be with Lamar Jackson, and like the Bills were in this game. So, yeah, when we talk about
Let's
this,
segue to the Bills. Yep.
so when we talk about this game, the Bills lose 44 to 42 against the now 7-6 Rams. Bills are now 10-3. The things coming out of this game are the Bills basically lost the first round bye, right? I think we can agree on that. Because I don't
Yeah.
think from what we've seen from KC, they're going to lose 2 more games.
No, they needed to lose one of the Chargers, and then because I again the Bills Lions games next week. So
yeah,
my hot take, it came down to this week.
yeah.
We needed the Chargers to beat the Chiefs, so we'll get to that. But to answer the question about this, am I worried about the Bills? No. Reason why I'm not worried about the Bills. Yes, the Rams put up 44 against that defense, but I don't know if there's another wide receiver playing better than Puka Nacua right now. I just don't. He's just so good. 12 receptions, 162 yards. Hi, honey. My daughter's raising her hand. She wants my attention with something. But Matthew Stafford, 23 for 30, 2 touchdowns. He was outstanding. And then, Josh Allen doing another historical thing that's never been done before, just like the snow game where he threw one, ran one, and caught one. He just went for 3 passing touchdowns and 3 rushing touchdowns, 6 touchdowns for him. Is it bad that they lost? Yes. I've been talking about, are they going to lower my power rankings? Spoiler, maybe. But anyway, I'm not worried about them at a whole because they're still 10-3. They're still they won't get that first round bye, but they still won their division. They're still going to most likely have that 2 seed. I'm not worried about this team in the slightest, So that's my take on it. And now I got to figure out what my daughter needs over here as she's waving her hand at me. Oh, it looks like BJ dropped. So I guess I'll keep going. Yes, honey. Oh, and he's back. Perfect timing because I just finished my talk. Now I got to see what my daughter needs. So,
yeah. So if the discussion is, and you know what, now I'll make it where it's me. Let's remove him. So if the discussion is, which is the question posed, am I worried about the Bills? I don't think I'm worried about the Bills, but I also think when you lose a game like this, where essentially you play a perfect offensive game and then your defense can't make one stop to win the game, and there was also that weird semblance of play calls at the last minute of the fourth quarter. But again, people are like, well, they cost them the game. It was still a 2-score game. So even if they get, even if it wasn't that hodgepodge of calls down there with that weird quarterback sneak that everybody knew was a quarterback sneak, and then they got stopped almost 2 yards behind the goal line. When it comes to stuff like that, again, the coaching with the Bills has always been one of those things where, like, is McDermott a good coach? Is he not a good coach? Like, he is a good coach, but it becomes one of those things where he is a good coach. Is he good enough to lead the Bills to a Super Bowl? I don't know. Josh Allen is good enough to lead the Bills to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think Josh Allen's the best quarterback. Dude, he's a generational talent that I don't think we'll ever see again. Like, yes, Mahomes is great. Jalen Hurts is great on their athleticism. But what Josh Allen can do, and it comes a lot down to his arm as well. I mean, when you can throw a 60-yard dart in the snow, in the wind, with that arm strength that he has at what I think he's 6'6", like, he is a specimen out there on the field. Would I much rather have, a Jalen Hurts or a Lamar Jackson, if I was a run-heavy team all day? all day.
Well,
But
even if you were a run heavy team, Josh Allen can also do that.
right, he can also
Like,
do that. I understand that. But I'm trying not to downplay how good Mahomes is, how good Jalen Hurts is, Lamar Jackson, all those other dual threat quarterbacks. But I don't think I've ever seen anybody like Josh Allen play football.
yeah. I think right now, if it came down to it, I think there would really be 3 teams, maybe 2 teams in the entire league that if you put Josh Allen on a trade block and was just like, "Let's make a deal," I think there would be 29 other teams that would be like, "Let's put a package together to try to
Yeah,
get Josh Allen."
one hundred
Probably,
percent. And
what,
I
Bengals, Ravens, Chiefs would be the only ones where it's just like,
uh,
"No,
I and this makes it so hard. I was so ready to have Saquon jump Josh Allen for the MVP,
it's not gonna happen."
but
Josh Allen won MVP
dude,
with this game.
but when you just make 2 games, you make history in 2 of your, most recent games here with
Yeah.
what he's done. Like, it's just it's insane what he's doing right now. He
On the
wants
season,
to win. He just wants to go to the Super Bowl. He wants the
yeah.
chance to go to the Super Bowl. Whether they win it or not, I think just Bills fans want to go back and have that opportunity. Obviously, they want to win, but so do teams like the Lions, teams that haven't been there, but they want
Well,
to.
on the season at the moment, Josh Allen has 32 touchdowns, 7 turnovers, 2 of those being lost fumbles. So just insane, insane. And again, there's still 4 games to go. The marquee of marqueest matchups happens this week where it's Bills Lions. So, am I worried about the Bills? No, but I do think this is one of those games where it makes you question how great their defense is, especially when obviously they have a defensive head coach in McDermott. So, and the Rams, again, the Rams can go against anybody in this league and they can have a top 3 at least passing attack, right? I don't think their running attack is as good as some of the other teams in the league that are, like obviously the Ravens or the Eagles, where it's like their top 5 offenses, both passing and rushing, with the just not even stats, with just the weapons they have available. But even in this game, Kyron Williams, 29 carries, 87 yards, 2 touchdowns. So their running game, I don't love, but I also don't hate it. It kind of feels like a middle of the road rushing attack. But their offense, I mean, with Stafford, Nakua, Cup, even Tutu Atwell, and Demarcus Robinson, who didn't do anything in this game, but we've seen him have big games in the past when there was injuries to Nakua and Cooper Cup. I think they can beat anybody on a good day. And this was a great day. This is probably the best version of the Rams offense. And then their defense has struggled all year, but they got young guys on it. So I think if they keep this core together next year, I think the Rams are really a threat. But as far as the Bills, I still think they're in the Super Bowl bubble. We'll get to our power rankings in a minute, but let's move on, Casino. And
Yeah.
I kind of just threw the Ravens in there.
Oh,
Just
I'm worried about
because,
the Ravens. We've talked about it.
yeah, we're worried about the Ravens because of that defense. So I just wanted to tie that in with the Bills. And Eagles defense wasn't bad, but they still gave up over 300 yards to the Panthers, which is bad. So